We're the look at all the stories making the headlines this lunchtime now. It's the ITV News.
It's official. Today is the UK's hottest ever. The temperature has exceeded 40 degrees Celsius for the first time on record.
Went for a walk around the supermarket because it was so well air conditioned.
We've showered her once in the morning, once in the afternoon. Sort of cool water, wasn't it?
So just how intense will the heat get and when will it cool off? ITV weather presenter Lucy Verasamy will be with us live and we'll have the latest from across the UK as temperatures climb. Wildfire rages in France as more people are forced to flee their homes, also this lunchtime. On the beach, in the garden or maybe in your kitchen, the plan to relax the rules on where weddings can be held and... Archie rings the bell, the little boy who saw off COVID and completed his cancer treatment.
This is the ITV Lunchtime News with Geraint, Vincent.
Good afternoon. The United Kingdom is experiencing its hottest day on record. The temperature tipped over 40 degrees Celsius for the first time ever in this unprecedented heat wave. The record was broken at Heathrow. It may well be broken again as the day goes on. And if you managed to get any sleep last night, well done, because the hottest day followed the warmest night ever recorded. Much of England remains under an extreme heat warning this lunchtime, and the weather is causing disruption to the transport network, particularly on the railways. In a moment, we'll be live with our reporters for the latest updates from across the UK. First, this report from our correspondent, John Ray.
Dawn on a day like no other. There will be few places on the planet where the sun burns with such intensity. But on the Yorkshire coast, they found two ways to beat the heat. Start early or stay wet. Never has there been a better time for an early morning dip.
It's a bit nippy, but once you're in there, it's great.
Yeah, it's lovely, really nice. I mean, like, you can't beat it on the hottest day of the year.
And those who hit the beach do so with a warning.
Heat stroke and heat exhaustion are the two big ones, and obviously sunburn. You know, that's the minor thing, but you can get some really bad, almost third-degree burns from the sun.
Before the sun had reached its high point in the sky, we looked down on the hottest spot ever recorded in Britain, Charlwood in Surrey, 39.1 degrees Celsius and still rising. In Croydon, south of London, the flames of a woodland fire. The countryside is tinder dry. Not far away, at Heathrow, a short while ago, the temperature topped 40 degrees. The busy A14 in Cambridgeshire folded under the pressure. And it's been another morning of disruption on the railways. Tracks buckling in the heat, trains running half speed. The entire East Coast main line has been closed between London and York and Leeds. There are no Thameslink or Great Northern services scheduled to run north of London, and only limited services on East Midlands, West Midlands and Avanti West Coast services. The Transport Secretary concedes the system can't cope. Commuters struggle to keep their cool.
Every two trains were cancelled, so we have to manage and wait. No choice.
None of us has experienced heat quite like it, but young skin needs even more protection. At this baby and parent group, they're sharing practical advice.
Me and the kids yesterday actually just went for a walk around the supermarket because it was so well air conditioned. Just went and looked at veggies for a while.
We've showered her once in the morning, once in the afternoon. Sort of cool water, wasn't it? And kept her...
Mostly in her diaper all day and just got the fan on.
In the record-breaking heat of last night, we're better for the sleepless to head than an open all-hours bakery in London's East End.
It's pretty toasty.
It's pretty mad.
Toasty as
yeah,
bagels.
It's mad. Yeah, runways are melting, roads are falling apart.
Even at 1 a.m, an unprecedented 25 degrees and no respite for the workers.
This one on, boiling,
this one 500 degrees, and this one 500 degrees, and we working here.
When the sun sets tonight, it will mark the end of this intense heat wave. But from what we know of climate change, this is the look of many summer's days to come. John Ray, ITV News.
Well, we've got reporters across the UK this lunchtime. Chris Choi is at King's Cross Station in London. Victoria Grimes is in Blackpool. But first to Louise Scott in Melrose in the Scottish borders. Louise.
Well, yes, we're in the Scottish borders where Scotland's 19-year hottest day record is looking like it could be broken, although we've just had a spell of rain there. It was back in 2003 that the mercury hit 32.9 degrees just down the road from us. Well, recently here in Melrose it was looking about 32, but they expect it could go up to 35 degrees Celsius. Now, this amber warning for Scotland is across the east, central and southern parts of the country. Yesterday, seeing temperatures of 31 degrees, even up north in Aboyne in Aberdeenshire. Not too much disruption reported, of course, on the railways. There is cancellations down to London, and there has been a speed limit put on the tracks here, but already the summer holidays are in place here, so no school closures, but lots of families hoping to be out and about enjoying the sunshine. The Scottish Government is advising, though, to try and stay indoors between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m, and we'll know tomorrow morning whether this record has been broken.
Well, what's happening this lunchtime here at King's Cross really does highlight how serious this heat is for the rail network. 173 miles of track from here stretching north, now closed on the East Coast Main Line. In fact, all stops shut on the East Coast Main Line south of York and Leeds. A lot of our viewers will be familiar with King's Cross, normally one of the very busiest stations in the country, upwards of 200,000 visitors a day. Well, right now, just a trickle of people. Most people, it seems, have got the message and they are staying away. Some tourists that didn't get the information have turned up to be faced with these levels of disruption, and the East Coast Main Line will be closed now through until 8 o'clock tonight. As for elsewhere, other train operators also have restrictions where services are still running. Many are running at much slower speeds. This network simply can't cope with the heat.
Well, here in Blackpool on the promenade, the holiday season is in full swing. Thousands of people have flocked to this very popular seaside resort to make the most of the good weather. And whilst it's a very welcome breeze, the temperature gauge is still tipping an incredible 36 degrees here in Blackpool, which is pretty much unheard of for this area in the northwest. Now, people have been coming today, they've been swimming in the sea and finding as many ways as they can to keep cool.
How are you enjoying it and how are you keeping cool?
It's absolutely gorgeous. Just plenty of ice cream and ice lollies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And keeping in the shade as much as possible.
And what are you doing to keep cool in the sunshine today?
Even an ice cream.
It's lovely in Blackpool today. We're just having a walk along the prom and trying to keep cool with a nice sea breeze, drinking lots of water and ice cream.
Trying to keep cool because it is really, really hot. So, you know, and I suffer with my breathing problems as well, which just really is too hot.
Well, great to see people enjoying themselves, and my goodness, don't those ice creams look marvellous. Well, it is, of course, a huge boost for the economy here in Blackpool to have so many extra visitors in town. They'll be totting up how that's gone in the next couple of days, but we do know that that weather warning will remain in place here until the end of today. But until then, people here, it seems, want to make the most of the sunshine.
Victoria in Blackpool, many thanks. Well, let's join ITV's weather presenter Lucy Verasamy. Lucy, tell us more about the weather records that are being broken right now.
Yes, we've seen numerous records broken in the last 24 hours in this historic extreme heat. It's certainly not a southern-based story, it's a nationwide story, as we're seeing. And we saw a record-breaking warm night last night. Temperatures didn't dip much below 25 degrees in West Wales and not much below 26 degrees in parts of West Yorkshire and parts of Greater London, breaking the 1990 record, which has stood for quite some time. And added to that, temperatures continue to soar today. We're certainly not out of the woods yet.
And what can we expect as the day goes on?
Well, already, as we've heard, temperatures have topped 40 degrees, the hottest day in recorded history for the UK, well over 100 Fahrenheit, and those temperatures continue to soar as we head through the afternoon. Those areas most likely to see those temperatures peak anywhere from the southeast into the East Midlands, East Anglia and up into Yorkshire. We could see those temperatures exceed 40 degrees in the next few hours, but by no means hot, strong sunshine everywhere. There's a lot of cloud around. There's hit and miss showers, thundery downpours, but don't be deceived. Even with these conditions, it stays remarkably intensely hot and temperatures will still be way above those we normally see this time of year.
So when are we going to get that chance to finally cool down?
Well, when I think of cooling down, I think about popping on a jumper, and that's certainly not the case in the next 24 hours. Yes, parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland seeing those temperatures slide a few degrees, a touch fresher here as we go into tomorrow. The same goes for parts of Western England, parts of Wales. A little more comfortable, a little more bearable, let's say, but more typical summertime weather that you'd expect for this time of year. For central and eastern spots of England, temperatures could well be close to 29 and 30 degrees once more tomorrow, a good 10 degrees lower than today, but certainly a lot easier to manage than the conditions we've seen in the last 24 hours.
OK, Lucy Verasamy, thank you very much indeed. And Lucy will bring you the full forecast after the news, and our website has all the latest weather alerts and developments. You'll find those on itv.com/news. In Europe this week, the heat is even more intense, and wildfire has forced tens of thousands of people to flee their homes. In Geraint, in the southwest of France, firefighters have been called in from across the country to try to control fires which have raged across a vast area. Our correspondent Ben Chapman is there, and he sent us this update.
This is where the huge firefighting effort is being coordinated in this corner of France. They're tackling one of two large wildfires, both here and slightly to the east of here. Together, 2,000 firefighters are tackling those fires. Here, not far away, it has already claimed great swathes of pine forest and forced the evacuation of 18,000 people, both residents and tourists. Now, the temperatures here have dropped considerably overnight, but the big enemy today is the wind. It is still strong, and they're worried about it changing direction and carrying the flames to habited areas. In order to protect them, they've been creating fire breaks overnight, felling trees to try and stop the flames from leaping roads and affecting people's houses. I've been speaking to a senior member of the local government here about the situation here today.
The big challenge today is protect the habitation. Is protect. No problem for person in the habitation because we have evacuated. The fire is one side. Les pompiers.
Firefighters.
Yes. On the middle and the habitation after.
Well, wildfires are still burning across parts of Spain, Portugal, also elsewhere in France. The hottest temperatures today are in the north of the country. A fire has broken out in Brittany with temperatures touching 40 degrees, being fanned again by hot winds. And here too, they say the fire is far from under control and still poses a danger today and later in this week.
Ben Chapman reporting there from the southwest of France. Still to come this lunchtime, 4 will become 3, the race to be the next Prime Minister, and the boy who inspired through the pandemic celebrates the end of his cancer treatment. First, if you want to get married, the first thing you have to do after, of course, popping the question and saying yes, is find a venue, and there are strict rules. Your wedding has to take place in a building registered for that purpose. Well, the Law Commission has today published proposals to change all that in England and Wales. It says that needless regulation stops couples from marrying in a place which is special to them. And that place might be, well, anywhere. People should be able to get wed on the beach, on a boat, or even in their kitchen if they like. Only the presiding officials need to be regulated. Well, we're joined now in the studio by the wedding planner, Mark Namirko. Mark, this feels like a sensible idea, doesn't it?
Totally sensible. Very archaic rules. In Scotland, for example, you can get married from a bar top to a cliff top, and England and Wales have been quite behind with that. So this opens up a variety of options for couples. I would say, in fact, it's very rare for us to do a main legally binding wedding, say, on a traditional Saturday. We've now pretty much been doing legal registry weddings, much smaller, say 15, 20 people on a Thursday or a Friday, and then having a celebrant attend on the Saturday.
I see.
Yeah.
So you're used to holding wedding celebrations at least in some quite wacky places. Tell me.
Well, I wouldn't say wacky places. Quite traditional.
Classy places.
For example, we did the gardens, the estate at Cliveden a couple of weeks ago, which again you couldn't legally get married. But I think it's not just so much the places. I think, you know, you wouldn't necessarily, as much as I do know some lovely registrars out there, you don't necessarily get to pick who your registrar will be before. With a celebrant, you can talk to them, you can plan it, you can make the vows very personal. So I think that's one of the key reasons.
Why have the venues been so strictly regulated for so long?
I have absolutely no idea, but it even goes to the point that, you know, so each room at a venue, so say you're a hotel, you have to have license each venue, and it sometimes is to do with health and safety, fire exits and number of people. And if you want to do it outside, there was a way around it to do with foundations and having a pagoda or something like that with it had to still have 4 pillars. So I can't tell you the exact reasons, but very archaic.
And there's all sorts of strange rules that accompany them. If you've had a religious upbringing and then having a ceremony in a church or a holy place would mean something to you, though, wouldn't it? But lots of people get married in a church or a registry office because they have to, but our perceptions of what's possible would be changing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as I've seen and also the pandemic really brought this out, weddings have become more and more personal. You know, say 20 years ago, we were keeping up the Joneses, the Kardashians and whatnot. I feel couples don't feel the need to follow those rules, if you like. I always say, you know, I have a whole template on how to plan a wedding, but each time I throw it out the window and we start from fresh. So I think it's about making the wedding personal to you.
Well, and perhaps it might help with the astronomical cost, or what can be an astronomical cost of getting married.
Yeah, there's no venue hire if you're getting married at home, although if your parents want to charge you for their back garden, maybe. But otherwise, you know, that does cut back on costs. What I would say, however, is when we have done marquees at clients' homes and so forth, it is a bit more logistical challenging, because obviously it's not a venue that's built to host big events, but obviously there is a big saving.
And people get very good value when you're planning the wedding, of course.
Yeah, of course, always.
Mark, great to talk to you
nice
sometime.
To talk to you.
Thanks for coming in. The boss of EasyJet has warned that he can't guarantee passengers won't suffer more flight disruptions this summer. The airline says it's introduced some measures to prevent the recent mass cancellations, but some things like flight restrictions and issues with air traffic control are beyond the airline's control. We will find out which of the 4 contenders to be Prime Minister have made it to the final 3 later today. One of them will be knocked out of the race this afternoon. Live now to our political correspondent, Daniel Hewitt at Westminster. Daniel, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, Geraint, there is an air of desperation right now in the corridors of Parliament as those 4 candidates and their teams scuttle around having conversations to try and get those much-needed votes to get into the top 2. And there are a lot of eyes today on Kemi Badenoch, as you can see there. She's currently in 4th place. She's been the shock candidate in this race, only been an MP for 5 years. And there are 2 big questions today around Kemi Badenoch. Number 1, can she pull off an almighty shock and drag herself into the top 3, overtaking Penny Mordaunt-Orr Liz Truss. If she can't, the second question is, where do her votes go? She's currently got 59, and her supporters right now could very much decide this race, or at least decide who gets in the top two. There is lots of pressure right now on her and her supporters, should she drop out today, from the right of the party to back Liz Truss. But I've been speaking to MPs who are backing Kemi Badenoch, who say that they're going to go for Rishi Sunak. And if that happens en masse, then Penny Mordaunt, who's currently in second place, would look like she would get in the top two. As for Penny Mordaunt, well, she's putting a lot of pressure right now, or at least a lot of charm offensive, on Tom Tugendhat's supporters. He dropped out of the race yesterday. We're told they had a positive conversation overnight. So right now, all votes up for grabs. It's a very close contest, this one, Geraint.
And one Tory MP's been banned from voting today. Why?
That's right. The government here are being accused of foul play and dirty tactics. Of course, they deny it. Tobias Ellwood, who was a Conservative backbencher until this morning, he missed the government's confidence vote yesterday. He was in Moldova. He said he couldn't get back. Number 10 said they warned him. If he didn't come back, they'd have the whip removed from him. Why does this matter? Well, Tobias Ellwood's been a big critic of Boris Johnson. He's also backing Penny Mordaunt in this race, who's up against Liz Truss. Many of Boris Johnson's supporters want Liz Truss. One for another day, I think, Geraint.
Got it, Dan. Thanks very much. And finally, a young cancer patient who gave hope to others when he survived COVID early in the pandemic has finally rung the hospital bell to celebrate the successful end of his treatment. Archie Wilkes was 4 years old when he caught coronavirus during his treatment for neuroblastoma, a rare childhood cancer. Sally Biddulph has his story.
A simple ring of the bell marks a huge milestone for Archie Wilkes and his family. The footy-mad 6-year-old is in full remission from cancer after 4 years of treatment at Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge. Archie was diagnosed with neuroblastoma at 2, a rare form of childhood cancer. And for 42 months he's had multiple therapies, often parted from his twin brother Henry. But Archie is the very essence of bravery. He always had a smile for the nurses and gave hope to so many early in the pandemic when he caught COVID-19 and recovered. Support poured in from everywhere, none more so than from Tottenham Football Club and from Archie's hero, Harry Kane.
Hi Archie, great to hear you're feeling better and on the mend. You're a strong boy. Just keep listening to the doctors, nurses and your parents. I hear you and your twin brother Henry love to play football, so keep playing in the garden.
Archie was even made virtual mascot for a game in July 2020. So delighted with his kit that he never took it off. And when it came to an outfit for ringing the bell, the choice was obvious. Another Spurs strip. Sally Biddulph, ITV News.
Nice one, Archie. That's it this lunchtime from everyone here. Bye-bye.
Today, in some places, it could be pouring. But don't worry, it'll only be in very isolated areas. Heinz Salad Cream sponsors ITV National Weather.
Good afternoon to you. It's a record-breaking historic hot day. Numerous extreme heat warnings remain across the bulk of Britain. Already we've topped 40 degrees, well over 100 Fahrenheit, making it our hottest day in recorded history, and those temperatures continue to rise as I speak. This is the earlier satellite and radar picture. Plenty of strong July sunshine, but showery outbreaks across northeastern Scotland and these downpours across the southwest turning thundery from time to time. Hit and miss downpours turning thundery across northern England later, doing little to hamper those temperatures. Exceptional serious heat through the course of today. Those numbers way higher than we'd expect at this point in the year, or in a regular summer heat wave, in excess of 40 degrees across the east, with intense thundery downpours to end the day in places. Tonight, a little more comfortable for sleeping across the north and the west. Temperatures a little lower than last night, but remarkably mild, staying warm and stuffy further east.
Heinz Salad Cream sponsors ITV National Weather.
With O2, go shopping on us. With a £300 gift card when you pick up the Samsung Galaxy S22 from under £37 a month when you trade in. Plus, roam freely in the EU so you can share it all this summer. Get your Samsung Galaxy S22 from under £37 today. We're better connected. Search O2 Samsung S22.
We'd been together for a long time, Millie and me, and I figured it's probably time to ask the question. I wanted it to be really special, so I thought have a florist deliver some beautiful flowers with a special message and just make it really memorable.
Thank you, bye! Will you get a dog with me? Yes!
Share something real with a beautiful bouquet, handcrafted and hand-delivered by your local Interflora florist.
These days, finding the right match isn't always easy. With so many options, it's sometimes difficult to make the right choice. At Ketley's, finding the right furniture is a lot easier. Sale now on. Everything from powerlift recliners to classic three-piece suites and lots more besides, all with free delivery and free recycling of your old furniture. So it's easy to discover your ideal match. Find your heart's desire